Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Market Wrap. So I am back in Philly. We had no Giants this week, but we did have a fun national championship game. So that was great to see. Roll Tide. I'm ready for Breeze versus Brady this weekend. At least we've got that to look forward to. So I had three fantastic pieces come across my desk this week. And the first one is a Patek Philippe, and one that I had almost not spent any time with. It was the 6007A. It's a limited edition steel Calatrava, 40 millimeters. They made it in 2019 for the announcement of their new manufactory in Plan-les-Ouates. It's just a great size. It's a cool blue dial. You never see steel Calatravas. It was the first time I'd really had a chance to play with it, put it on my wrist. It really is a great piece. I think long term it's going to be an amazing value. The second piece is a kind of a classic Patek. It's the 5036-1R. Now I love their annual calendars. I think they're super underappreciated. This is a rose gold version on a bracelet, just a gorgeous kind of dress watch. And the last piece is one of my favorite Rolexes. It's a white gold Daytona. But the Daytona, very special, has a meteorite dial. Very few pieces come with meteorite dials today. Really, it's the GMT we see with the meteorite. The Daytona is great with meteorite, and this particular one I just think is amazing because every single stone is different, and this one just pops on my wrist. So love to have that in stock. So 2021 is off to a very strong start, and we're seeing a large increase in traffic, both on the buying side and on the selling side. Prices on most iconic models are trading at or near all-time highs. Now, I've been spending my time over the past week keeping an eye on foreign exchange rates. Now, it may seem odd that that's what I do in my spare time, but since we have an office in Switzerland, I have to release our trading rates weekly. And I started to notice the USD is slowly but steady dropping. As of this morning, the Swiss franc to the US dollar was at 1.124. As recently as May 2019, it was strictly 1-to-1. It was great, it was easy then. But now that the dollar has weakened, this affects the market in really a number of ways. The first and most obvious one is most of the major manufacturers are in Switzerland. They operate primarily in Swiss francs. Most of the pricing we deal with in the US is done in US dollars. So as the US dollar gets weaker, prices in the US are cheaper. The revenue that the brands are getting is actually dropped, 10 to 12%. Now, we used to see a huge currency swings back in the 80s and 90s, but with relative monetary stability over the first few years, we don't see that many large price variations across markets. In the old days, brands would be 10, 15, 20% difference depending on the markets. But now with ease of travel, the web, it's made it very important for brands to have consistent pricing across all the markets. So now with the drop in the US dollars, it's making two things happen. One is the US is a very attractive market for buyers, and it's starting to push prices higher in the US, even though retail prices haven't changed. Now, we did see a small increase last year from Rolex in January. Patek and AP raised prices later in the year. Now, while these increases were not tiny, they don't compensate for the full swing in the Swiss franc. So I think we're going to see the dollar continue to weaken. I think as the US continues to print money, expands debt, this tends to put downward pressure on the dollar and often a flight to safety, which of course is the Swiss franc. Now, the large manufacturers can certainly handle some of this. I think you're going to see it in the smaller brands really start feeling the effect of this. I think we may see price increases before you know it. I do think Rolex could see another increase in 2021. As we all know, the market has determined that many of their prices are too low. At retail, they certainly sell at big premiums. I would not be surprised if we see a significant price adjustment to kind of bring the retails closer to the market prices. I did see this happen back in the late 80s, early 90s. They really made some dramatic moves. But we've already seen it happen with Patek. They did a bigger price increase in the fall, and we've definitely seen the prices go up in the new market and in the secondary market. I think you could certainly see this happen in 2021. So Rolex really, really strengthened in 2020. I think 2021 could be the year of Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe was always the #1 brand in the market. I think we're going to see it come back both in demand and in pricing in 2021. So that's this week's Market Wrap. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next week.